My 270F ex 26 mean dumped me in January after 9 years together because he didn't think I was wife material. And now he reached out wanting to talk because he needs to get something off his chest. I don't know why he's doing this or if I should meet him. I was with my ex, who I will call Nate, because if I'm being honest, minus betraying a friend, I was a Cassie. I don't want to go too much into the details, but for the last 9 years, and I lost myself to Nate. He was my world, everything I did was for him. I helped him through depression, helped Gettle keep his grades up, and even worked 2 jobs so he could focus on college when his parents disowned him for nearly 3 years because they didn't agree with the major or college he chose. Though to bear in mind, I was also a college student. When his parents started talking to him again and started to financially support him, and we moved into a new apartment. Nate said he wanted me to quit my job, I didn't, because it was his turn to take care of me. Every for 16-month thing was great, he spoiled me. Then I noticed he was more interested in his new friends. At times, and he ignored me completely. Back in December, he did a 180 and love bombed me the whole month. He really went out of his way to make Christmas magical for me. I honestly believed he was going to propose on January 2nd. And that he made me my favorite dinner and gave this speech about how I was his first love, how I've been there since high school. I kept thinking, any minute now he's gonna ask me to marry him. But no, he dumped me. As his speech went on, my world fell apart. As much as he tried to sugarcoat it, he basically said, "You were a good girlfriend, but that's all you'll ever be to me. A girlfriend. Anna and I don't see you as my wife or the mother of my children. You served your purpose, and now I don't need you anymore. I'll give it I need someone on my level. You're a gold digger. I'll give you 30 days to move out." I couldn't speak, and he stared at me and had an looking for a response. I think this lasted 20 minutes before said he'd sleep in the guest room, then left. Strangely, help it I didn't cry or get angry. I just ordered cardboard boxes online and went to bed. The next day, I waited for him to leave the apartment before I left my room. Then I called my boss, though begged reeling if I could transfer anywhere. She told me there wasn't anything, but if something came up in my department, I thought she'd consider me. I then reached out to everyone I knew that wasn't also Nate's friend for a place to stay. My cousin invited me to stay in her spare room for as long as I needed, and I could move in straight away, so that was amazing. And in the 4 days it took me to pack my stuff and move out, I didn't see or speak to Nate. I doubt he even noticed. Added I didn't trust myself at the time to ignore you up text, so I blocked him and everyone close to him. I even changed my number and email to make sure he couldn't reach me. The first night at my cousin's was when everything hit me, and I think I cried every night during that first month. I honestly felt like shit. I kept thinking about what Nate said over and over again. It made me feel so low. The added like I was nothing. He only stayed with me because I was just there. But thankfully, my cousin reached out to my mom, other cousins, LFA, and real friends to give me an intervention which I badly needed. I honestly believe that without my cousin, and I wouldn't have made it through that first month. I'm still healing and waiting on that job transfer because I feel like if I'm not in the same city as Nate and I have a place of my own, would do the fresh start would do me the world of good. I thought by now I'd be a distant memory for Nate, but shockingly, on a way he sent flowers to my job today for my birthday, which was on Sunday. Apparently, he also went to my parents' house looking for me. And mine and my mom admitted he's been there before, dropping off stuff and trying to ask questions about me. But they told him to fuck off. With the flowers came with a card saying, "Dear Cassie, happy belated birthday. That Viking, I've been thinking about you nonstop for the last few months, especially with how everything ended. How do I need to get something off my chest that I feel will haunt me for the rest of my life if I don't tell you this to your face. But I have no way of contacting you. If possible, can we meet up in the near future?" Nate, what could he want? What's haunting him that he needs to say to my face? Everyone in my life is telling me to ignore him, but they hate him. I'm torn, but I can't lie, my curiosity is telling me to meet him to see what he wants. Has anyone been in my shoes or in Nate's? And an updive days later, so we ended up meeting, and no, I didn't go to him. I had told the receptionist at my work, hi if he came looking for me, just to say I'm out for the day after he showed up once. I didn't want the drama of him around my job, so just kept going to my usual places. Go to the grocery store I go to every Saturday evening or the park I ran at Sunday mornings and his words, and until he would eventually run into me. He did yesterday. He was waiting at the coffee shop I go to after my morning run. When I saw him, I tried to turn around and leave, but he kept calling me, so I thought to myself everything went pear-shaped, and a coffee shop would be safer than my walk home. So I just sat down and asked him what he wanted. Even he gave an apology that wasn't really an apology. You know the type with, "I'm sorry but," and pity me. He blamed his mental health, his parent, his job, his friends, everyone but himself. I took his advice on here and said, "Cut the crap," and I already know everything. He genuinely looked shocked and stared at me for a second. A doctor I guess he thought his coworker had already told me everything, so he couldn't lie. Here's what really happening, and he fell for a girl in his office. When he told me her name, I knew her immediately. I've met her a few times. He said that for the last 2 years, he had idolized her. To be fair, she's beautiful with an amazing personality. He told me he hated me because I went stopping them from being together, and his coworker was too classy to be a side piece. When he broke up with me, that he confessed to her that he was madly in love with her and that he ended a 9-year relationship to be with her. Well, here's where it gets funny, she doesn't even like him. Lol. As she called him a piece of trash and told him if he ever spoke to her outside work, she'd report him to HR, so I asked him, what has any of this got to do with me? We are over. I clearly cut ties. There's no reason for us to speak. He wants to try again, promised we'd get married before the year ends, that we belong together. I'm known him, I'm nobody's second choice. He threw me away after 9 years and said some pretty cruel things to me, and now he thinks if he snaps his fingers I come running back. He tried to beg and fake tears and bring up the good times in our relationship. I told him, please leave me alone, and as you've wasted too much of my time already. I texted my cousin meet me at the coffee shop. He kept saying nonsense. Evan even suggested that if I went to couples counseling for a few months, he'd leave me alone. Have the 20 minutes it took it for my cousin to arrive felt like 20 years. In the end, I just stopped listening and stood at the cutter making small talk with baristas until my cousin arrived. She told him to fuck off. He tried to win, and if he tried to follow us, she'd call her brothers. He stayed in the coffee shop as far as I know, and we just went home. That's it. It's only been a day, but I feel like it's over and I'm free of him.